What about the people themselves? Are we talking about a people that are willing victims here, or are we talking about a people who may not actually know their power? They may not be socially, politically conscious to the extent that they know they are in fact the primary stakeholders in their countries.
Well, what you said, I cannot agree more with you in terms of there are external influence and there are spoilers who are either like regional actors or international actors who want, who have an utmost interest in keeping the dictator in power so that the country can be weaker and it's easy to exploit the resources and also the circumstances of the people in the country. And in the case of Sudan, it was very true that the Sudanese people for the last 30 years, they did not realize their power. They were hoping that change will come. They're hoping for the government to step down or change through an election. They tried several times, but they were also, the government itself used the divide to conquer tactics and strategies to keep people divided. And then after a long standing crisis and so many problems that Sudan has multiple crises in different regions, and that has influenced the situation throughout the entire country. And then now the situation came into the level that it's intolerable everywhere. It's not just one region or two regions or three regions, but everywhere in Sudan. Then all of a sudden people start protesting, and it started very small in a small city, and then immediately spread out throughout the country. And then people now realize that they have that power and they realize their power. But unfortunately, there are, as you said, the spoiler and outside interests which played, like when Sudanese mobilized, people came out and demanded change. People came out not in thousands but in millions, and Sudan has not seen that kind of demonstration in the recent history. But then change became very real and the hope was high. And unfortunately, all of a sudden, Bashir was forced out, and the military generals took on the role of facilitating keeping the country together until they can surrender the power to a civilian government, and people get to believe them, and everyone was happy that that process will happen. And all of a sudden, the regional actors, specifically the Gulf states led by Saudi government and the Emirates government, they came on board, and then Egypt, so they intervened. And what we have heard that they pledged a huge amount of money to these two military generals, and then they said they want a strong military in Sudan rather than a civilian government. Then all of a sudden the military, they already have the power in their hand. Now they have the weapon and they have the money. What else they need? So they realize that they can keep on, if they can keep the holding into power, and with weapon and everything, they can use delaying tactic, buy time, to make sure that they control whatever process that people want to see happening in Sudan. And that's exactly what happened right now with the recent agreement that we're going to talk about.